Hi everyone, Andy here. I hope you are all well. Just a quick disclaimer before we begin this podcast today. I had some major sound issues the first around about 8 minutes, 10 minutes of the podcast. So apologies to those who are listening to this podcast or watching on YouTube for the issues you're about to hear. But they soon go, and after the first 10 minutes, it's all gravy. So hope you enjoy, and let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome back to the Across the Pod NFL podcast. I am, as ever, your host, Andy Davies. On a brand new setting, you are seeing today, we are recording on StreamYard for the first time, and we are using our brand new visual intro for YouTube. So if you have checked that out, do let us know in the comments your thoughts on the new theme tune and the new intro. But we are today here for a very different episode to normal. So with me today for this episode, I've got with me a returning guest, a friend from university. With me today, back with us, is our Seahawks fan, Girvane. Girvane, how are you?
I'm good, Andy. How are we?
All good. All good, mate. It's a bit of a quiet time for the NFL, but, we're trying to find content, and this is what today is. I'm just ploughing along now in the summer, just waiting for that September week to start, and we know week one is about to begin.
I can't wait. To be fair, a lot of stuff has happened in the summer off the field. Some stuff good, some stuff we can't even really get into. But I think that's a conversation you'll have with a different set of fans.
Yeah. We are going to be bringing back our season previews. It's all be taking place across July and August. There will be a little bit of a gap because I will be at the Olympics for 7 days, but we'll be probably getting stuff out pre-recorded that week. If not, there'll be a little bit of a week gap. But either way, through July and August, what we're doing for the third year in a row, we'll be doing our season previews where we go through every team season preview, one episode per team with a fan of every team. And we're sure to have Girvane on when it comes to the Seahawks season preview. So today's episode, bit of a different one. I took inspiration from a Jack Smith's Happy Hour. So I was listening to an episode one day on the bus, and they let AI decide their episode. So I thought in today's episode, I would let AI decide what episode we do for you today. And should be a bit of a cracker. It could be a car crash, you never know, but it could be quite a fun episode. So I used, as I did in Happy Hour, I used the Bing AI chat GBT sort of mode, and it gave me 5 ideas. We're going to use 3 of them because 2 of them are pretty much unusable. One of them was the referee Olympics, sort of dive into the secret lives of NFL referees. They compete in events like fastest flag throw, and that for me didn't seem quite good, like a good content. The other one I thought might be good could have been the mascot draft, where we have, we hold a mock draft to select the best NFL mascots. But I just felt like I don't think I personally know enough about mascots to really have a true mock draft. But there's 3 things on there I am going to take inspiration from today. So the first one is going to be quarterback swap. Now this says, imagine a world where quarterbacks from different teams switch places for a day. Chaos ensues as Tom Brady tries to lead the Jets, while Zach Wilson takes charge of the Buccaneers. Hilarity guaranteed. Now, I've done it on Madden, so what I've done, I'm going to sim the entire season now, so you will get the winner later on in the episode. But I've managed to swap every team's quarterback with each other. So what I've done, I've based on the draft format. So, for example, 1 is paired with 32, number 2 paired with 31. So, for example, Mahomes and Bryce Young are swapping because the Chiefs had the best season, the Panthers had the worst season. It goes on and on. So, for example, some highlight ones: Kirk Cousins playing for the Packers. We've got Rodgers playing for the Browns, Gardner Minshew playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Joe Burrow playing for the Indianapolis Colts, and probably the best one we had was Justin Herbert and Josh Allen swapping places with the Bills and the Chargers. So in a minute, I'm going to press him. Actually, I'll go in full. Miles will go in full. So Mahomes is now a Panther, Purdy's now a Commander, Jackson's a Patriot, Goff's a Cardinal, Josh Allen is a Charger. CJ Stroud is a New York Giant. Baker Mayfield is a Tennessee Titan. Jordan Love is a Atlanta Falcon. Dak Prescott is a Chicago Bear. Deshaun Watson is a New York Jet. Jalen Hurts is a Minnesota Viking. Tua is a Bronco. Russell Wilson is a Raider. Matthew Stafford is a New Orleans Saint. Joe Burrow is a Colt, as I said before. And Trevor Lawrence is a Seahawk, whereas Geno Smith is a Jag. Richardson is a Bengal. Derek Carr is a Ram. Minshew is a Steeler. Nix is a Dolphin. McCarthy is a Eagle. Aaron Rodgers is the Brown, I said before. Caleb Williams is a Cowboy. Kirk Cousins is a Packer, I said before. Will Levis is a Buccaneer. Daniel Jones is a Texan. Herbert is a Bill. Kyler Murray is a Detroit Lion. Drake May is a Raven. Jaden Daniels is a Niner. And Bryce Young is a Chief. Now, most of the quarterbacks I could get on Madden, the rookie quarterback I had to create myself and try and create their own ratings, just try and have some sort of respectable what I think a rookie would have on Madden 25. And yeah, so I'll press sim now, and we will at some point in the episode reveal to you who has won the Super Bowl if every starting quarterback swapped teams. So let's get to the Super Bowl, sim that. So the next one we're going to do, whilst that's simming, our next is going to be a mock draft. So we are creating a mock draft, but the AI tells us, it said fantasy football for pets. Now, hosts create fantasy football leagues for pets. Who's top draft pick? Fluffy the cat or Barky the dog? And how do you handle bye weeks when your goldfish is on vacation? So we're going to each do a 5-person flag football team based on household pets. I'll give Girvane the first overall pick. It will be a snake draft. I will have the second and third pick. So we have 5 players in total. Has to be at least 3 on defense or offense, with the other 2 on the other side of the ball. So, Girvane, you have the first overall pick in our fantasy football for pets mock draft here on Across the Pod. Who's the first pick going to be?
This is actually very, very tough, because I'm wondering, with a certain pet that I want to pick, do I have them on offense or do I have them on defense? And I think because of it's going to be tough, because first position, what animal would most be a QB? Like, what's an animal that could be good at throwing? But I can't think. No, I can't come to mind. So you know what? I'm gonna go with a cat, but I'm gonna put the cat at wide receiver. That's my first pick.
Yeah, I've got no problem with it being a cat. I mean, you could argue maybe it could be a running back for the speed as well. But, you can't argue with the hands a cat has in the leap. I mean, I've got a cat at home, and the amount of times I've seen my cat, kill a mouse or a mole or try and go for a bird. I mean, it's incredible leap from a cat, and I think that they would be, at home being a wide receiver. So I'll have the next 2 picks. So for the second overall pick, now I wanted to get this in because I could have it in a tight end, but I think I want to get this defense sorted first, because I got a lot of animals which could be offense players, but not many defensive. I think this animal could be a great linebacker in the NFL. I'm going for a horse. I think that you've seen recently the horse in London, the pace they were going at. I think they'd be great at sort of stopping the run and sort of stopping, them getting the first down. I think a horse would be absolutely phenomenal. I think it's got the pace, it's got the strength, it's got the tunnel vision that horses sometimes have. Give me a horse at linebacker. I think it'll do some damage.
God, I was actually gonna. That was actually my way of thinking. Like, I did have a horse, and in my mind, but I was thinking whether he would be on as an offensive lineman or as a defensive lineman, and I slightly swayed over to offensive lineman to obviously protect, a QB. But you've gone and taken the animal that I probably if I I really should have thought about that first.
Well, it's too late. It's too late, mate. Now he's already locked in. The horse is going to be the second overall pick, and then with my third overall pick, I'm going for a dog at wide receiver. Same reasons as you said, a cat. Really, I think that whenever I remember there was a time recently I went to the beach with my auntie's dog in Tenby, and we chucked the ball. It would just it catch it with such ease. And I think that you put a dog out wide. And I think we've seen with those times on NFL coverages where a dog, I think it was a Giants game, a dog went on the field, and they were sort of joking around saying it was running his routes. And I think a dog could run great routes as a wide receiver. You could even be a slot receiver, but could be the main RW1, so WR1 or maybe WR2. Yeah, I think it would be great. And I think you think of the speed that a cat has, I think a dog has as well, and I think that it would be able to catch the ball, and I think that it would you would really struggle to worry about fatigue with dogs because they always seem to be, no matter what happens, they always seem to be have the biggest energy in the world. So yeah, I like this dog. A dog at 3. Was a dog sort of in your sort of line of thinking?
Dog was definitely in my thinking. Probably would a dog probably would have been. Dog probably would have been a tight end for Dog would have probably been a tight end for me only because of maybe because of like maybe like a norm. I don't know because it would depend on obviously the size of the dog. Because like if I got a dog that was quite big, it'd be able to block well.
Yeah, I think that dogs are quite protective, aren't they? As an animal, that they're quite. You can rely on a dog. Like a cat, you couldn't even rely on, which is probably why they are a good wide receiver because sometimes they are a bit diva-ish. Cats, which receivers are known to be. My cat certainly is. I think you have a great sort of likeness there to a wide receiver. But I think with a dog, they'd be loyal and they could block as well as receive. I think they'd be almost like a Gronkowski kind of figure where they can do both. And I think a dog would be great. Just to clarify as well, before anyone's thinking, we're not going to include like out there pets like a tiger or a monkey or bear. I think you see them sometimes in America or other countries where some crazy families got a bear as a pet. And I'm like, well, that doesn't seem right because I think that would be just almost too overpowering. Imagine a bear on the NFL field. Because I mean, actually, the bear black bears got 20 times the sense of smell distance as a human, but apparently they're not they're a bit clumsy. They don't really know where they're going. Their eyesight's a bit rubbish, but you think it put like a monkey in there, I think that would be a bit overpowering. Or like imagine a tiger going a linebacker, that would be, or defensive tackle, that would be just almost too overpowering. But Girvane, for you, you got the next 2 picks. What are you going for?
So I'm glad you've gotten that out of the way in terms of we can't get like exotic picks because because listen, the Shark was going to be my first pick of the draft, and then I thought about it and I was like, I don't, I think the commissioner, aka Andy, would overrule this decision, so I don't think it'd be wise to pick a Shark. But no, I'd love to pick this pet as a running back, but it's too small. But you know what? Maybe no, it can't. It doesn't really work. In theory, it doesn't work. Like, I don't know if I want to name the pet that I was gonna pick. I'll name it. So I wanted a hamster at running back, but logically speaking, that doesn't work because it's too small. Like the ball is bigger. Like how's the hamster really gonna carry the ball if anything? But you know what? I think I'm gonna go. You know what? Who do I? I think no. We need. The horse got taken from me here. But you know what? I'm gonna have. There's one position that's rather eccentric in the NFL. That's in the defense position. That's obviously the corner back position. So I think it's only right I pick this animal because it could. I think I think it could only make sense actually, but then it would no. I have to, I'm going to mention it, but I don't know if Andy will allow it. Can I put a flamingo at corner?
No, you can't put a flamingo. That's not. That's a zoo animal.
This is so difficult because I have the pets, but it's just like putting them is so difficult because it's just where they make the most sense. Because like I want it to be like as logical as, like, let's say a cat, obviously because of the jumping reach that it has. It being a wide receiver makes sense. Same with like a horse as a in the defensive position as defensive lineman. It makes sense that way. I'm you know what? No. Okay, well, you know what? Because this is fantasy, I feel like I have to go with the hamster at running back.
Love it. I mean, I will say one thing you can say about that is you mentioned about what worries about being too small. Maybe you could argue maybe it could be in like a cornerback or something because or safety because they haven't got to worry about man coverage as much. They have to be like, especially in zone coverage, you put a hamster in there. All it's got to do is just almost knock the ball away sometimes to defect the pass. So I think you get a hamster in there. I think it would be fast enough to get to that.
You're right. Oh, man.
Then again, the smallest men on the field probably are the running backs, really. Maybe kickers, you could argue them, but I think certainly, running backs, they're notoriously smaller than wide receivers and quarterbacks and other positions. So, yeah, maybe it would do good. And I think it would be great at running a straight line. I do worry whether it would go sort of be able to move to left or right. But I think you put him in a straight line, like an ISO sort of run, get him in there. I think a hamster would be great for that.
That's probably the logic I'm going with because by me picking a hamster, I'm not going to run the ball much, but I'm going to run the ball when needed to.
Yeah.
So if it's like 3rd and 2, a hamster can surely get me 2 yards.
Oh yeah, I think it would be. Yeah, I think it would. I question whether it would earn the hard yards, but I think if a gap opens, I think you get a hamster in there. It's I think it's first down city. You got to pick again here. Your third animal. What are you going for?
All right. Oh my. I think. Do I have more? Do I have more pets on offensive positions or defensive positions so far?
So far, I've got a horse as a linebacker and dog wide receiver. You've got a cat wide receiver and hamster running back. So you probably should look at maybe defense next.
Yeah, I think we should. All right. So this one, with this one, I think again, this one probably fits the eccentricity part in terms of this pet mostly is known for being colorful. It can float, and I feel like a corner, being eccentric, the best corners are the most eccentric ones, the ones that can talk trash. I don't know if this one could particularly really talk at all. If it does, I don't know what language it speaks, but I'm going with a goldfish at corner.
Interesting. I was thinking you go for parrot then. You said about the talking thing. I thought maybe you were going to go parrot, but then I think it's parrot. You wouldn't want a parrot in your team because it's just going to give away your game plan.
Yeah.
You go if say whoever you pick as quarterback, say for example a dog quarterback, for example, and they start going, left, right, zigzag, sandwich. Parrot would just give it away. It would give away the game plan. It would just immediately just reveal to the whole stadium what they're going for, what kind of play they're running for. They're going for pass or run.
I think with a parrot, you know what? The parrot, if the parrot could be the coach.
Yeah, to be fair, actually, yeah, you can get parrot as a coach. I mean, again, I'd worry that it would give away. But then it's not going to be repeating the instructions. It's going to be just them speaking to whoever the callback is.
Yeah.
I think Parrot could be a good coach. It's a bonus pick. You could argue, get the Parrot in as the
as coaches.
all the coordinator.
He'd do better. He'd do better than probably the worst coordinators in the league that that the NFL have.
I'm sure there were some that would do. They did a better job than some of the coordinators in this league.
Yeah.
Certainly better than Josh Boyer did with us a couple of years ago as DC. I think get Parrott and he'd probably get better results out of the defense a couple of years ago. Right, my next two picks. I think at some point you got to get a quarterback in, and I struggle with quarterback because there's not really many standout quarterback you could go for. But I looked at pets as the best vision which a quarterback needs, and I found a gecko. So I'm going to go for gecko as my quarterback. I think questionable size. I think that you could argue maybe there'll be a bit of some size issues, but you've seen Russell Wilson succeed in the NFL, Tua to some extent, and all that. So I think get a gecko in a quarterback. I think it would. I did think originally, could you argue put him as a cornerback because you see how quick their tongues are at eating food. I think you can be really quick at getting the ball. So maybe it could be like a rare one, especially flag football, where you could have play on both sides of the ball. The gecko you probably do both. But yeah, I think gecko will be my quarterback choice. Probably more of a running quarterback than a pocket passer. Maybe I'd say. I don't know whether it would be it'd be great at being a great pocket presence, but I think certainly it would see the ball and it would see gaps open up when they're running with it. So Gecko is my choice at quarterback. So now that removes one of my options here. We've already had the horse, and Tortoise for me is a no-go. It'd be the worst play to have. It'd just be incredibly slow. I don't think it would be great at that. So I've got to try and think of another one, and I'm going to go defense again here. I think I'm going to go for an animal that is quick, can be elusive, can get them, and I think you put him at cornerback. I think it would be a balance to defense as well as just ultimately would be able to catch those balls in, especially in zone coverage. I'm going for a Mouse as my safety defensive back. I think you get Mouse to do a great job with that. But yeah, that is my four so far. I'm happy with it so far. I mean, I've got quarterback and receiver cover. I've got that 1-2 connection with the geckos, the dog, and then on defense when your cat and hamster come calling, you've got a horse there that will stop the hamster in his run in his tracks, and then you've got a cornerback and a mouse or safety that can prevent the cat from doing his business. So yeah, I'm happy with that so far. I got one left, but Girvane, you got a chance to finish your team off now. Give me your final two positions, your next two picks.
All right, so for QB with this one's good. This one's going to be very, 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 very hard because this could depend on, like, me picking the QB will depend on what I'm actually doing in terms of whether I'm going to run it more than I think. It depends on what type of QB it is. Is it going to be the typical pocket pass QB? Is it going to be a more running QB, or is it going to be a dual threat QB? And you know what? I'm going with this one. I'm gonna go with this one just because of the fact I'd probably the best QB the Seahawks has is a QB that was dual threat, but I liked him most when he ran the ball. And I think the QB that I'm going to pick animal-wise is I'm going with a hedgehog as my QB.
Oh, interesting. A hedgehog. What's the reasons for the hedgehog?
I think it'd be fun to watch the hedgehog run. I think it'd be fun to watch the hedgehog run, and I think with a hedgehog, obviously we have the world's most famous hedgehog in Sonic the Hedgehog. If my hedgehog can be anything like that, then I think I've got a Q. Then I think I've got a QB that don't worry that he may have some deficiency throwing, but no one will probably catch him.
Interesting. I mean, basically like Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson in maybe his like first 2 years.
Just hopefully not the same bowel habits. Right, you on to your final animal, your final pick. You obviously got the cat as wide receiver, hamster at running back, goldfish at cornerback, and hedgehog as quarterback. So really now you have to have defense. You've got the 3 offense. So you need another defensive player. What are you taking?
Oh, I mean, now the list is it's endless now in terms of where I'd like to go. So I think based on again this position being one where you kind of need to be one step ahead, but you also kind of got to be kind of like you've kind of got to be a secret, but this animal's not really a secret. It can creep up. It can creep up on you, but it's pretty obvious that it's there. But I think this animal would make perfect sense as a sort of strong safety, or a free. No, not really a strong safety, more free safety because of how it moves. I'm going with a snake.
Oh, yeah, I like that. I mean, there's no way on earth I would get that as a pet. I think if anyone had it in the house, I wouldn't go in your house. If I'm honest, like that'd be nowhere near. So I think you'd add that fear factor certainly for oppositions. You know, you see when my gecko and dog come back, and you see a snake coming at you, it's going to make you think twice, isn't it?
That's the logic we've gone with here.
Well, I like it. You've got you've got a good balanced team there. I mean, you've got hedgehog at quarterback, you've got hamster at running back, cat at wide receiver, goldfish at cornerback, and snake at second at strong safety. I think no linebacker or defensive tackle there, but I think the team would be fine, especially in a flag football environment.
I think they did pretty well.
Yeah, and we will at the end as well give you guys a chance to put a vote as to which of the 2 teams you think would win in a hypothetical scenario where you do have these animals up against each other, and let us know who you think would win. So for my last pick, I was torn between 2 animals, a rabbit or a guinea pig. I think you got the guinea pig. I think I'd put as a running back, but I think especially where you see actually saying that, do guinea pigs like use hamster wheels, or it's just hamsters that use the wheels, or do guinea pigs have anything to do with that?
Oh, good question. I think a guinea pig does also use wheels.
Do you know what? I'm going for the rabbit because guinea pigs only seem to come out at night, or they seem to be always asleep at daytime. So I'm going to give rabbit the edge. I'm going to give it as wide receiver, but also a running back. I think it could do both. I think it could be a good receiving back. And I think as well, it could be a good. I think the way you see rabbits leap sometimes or jump in gardens, I think they'd have the leap to be a receiver. But I think also they've got that small size to them that they can be a good running back. So yeah, that's what I'm going to go for. Dual threat back, and yeah, that is our 5 done. So just to clarify, it will be Girvane's team of his team of a goldfish, a hedgehog as the quarterback, hamster running back, cat wide receiver, goldfish cornerback, snake second safety, so strong safety even, up against a team my team with a gecko at quarterback, dog at wide receiver, rabbit at running back, horse at linebacker, and mouse at cornerback. So let us know in our DMs or even just on the comments on this post when it comes out on socials who you think will win this game, and we'll try and have some sort of result of the vote coming up in the next few days when this podcast is released. And yeah, I'm happy with that team. But so, actually, before we go on to our next segment, we have the results of our quarterback swap. So, actually, you know what? I'm going to tease it a little bit longer. I'm going to wait to right at the end. So I'm going to go to our next, or to the final segment, which is going to be interesting one. So this one from AI, it said NFL superpowers. So it said discuss what superpowers each NFL player would have if they were superheroes. Aaron Rodgers with laser accuracy, Derrick Henry as the Flash. The possibilities are endless. So rather than the draft, we're just going to give maybe 3 players each we could sort of name superpowers for. So I'll let you go first, Girvane, as you are the guest. So who are your 3 players and what superpowers are they going to have?
If we're doing current players today, then
yeah,
I think
it will be current players. Just to clarify for the audience, we're not going to go into old players. Just be purely current players. And what superpowers do you think they can have?
I think if we're doing current players today, I think this player is already a cheat code, and he may already have superb vision, but I have to give him the ability to stop time with the vision that he actually has. So for that reason alone, I'm giving Patrick Mahomes time control.
Hey, what will you do with time control? Do you reckon you'll go? Is Tom Brady's era, or do you reckon how will he use time control?
I think how he'd use time control would be similar to how an anime villain uses time control. So if things went really badly, he'd be able to stop it just before the calamity occurred. So with the time control, he'd be able to stop it and kind of see the map of the field and almost kind of basically rectify a possible mess that he's made.
It feels like he's got that right now, to be honest. It seems like they've been 10 points down in multiple Super Bowls. They've been down. I think they've only led in 1 quarter or something in all 3 Super Bowls they've won under Mahomes. So he seems to find a way to just out of nowhere turn it around. I think sometimes it feels like he is a superhero. Sometimes it feels like he has got beyond human superpowers. But yeah, I think certainly if he had that, I think he would certainly catch up with Brady's 7 and maybe win more.
Second player. Okay, it depends. Okay, I'm probably gonna do. I'm gonna do 2. I'm gonna do 2 like genuine players, and I'm gonna pick like a wacky player I just love to have a superpower with. I'd love to have a superpower for. My second one, I'm gonna go with a player that I actually really, really like, who I actually have been a fan and probably progressively every year I've watched them. And it's actually a player that I think if I gave him this ability, I think he's already good, but I actually think he would be, again, another cheat code. Could he possibly be better than Mahomes if he was to get that ability? I don't know. It'd be tough to call. But for the tight end, I'm gonna go to tight end. I'm gonna go to George Kittle, and I'm gonna give him. You know what? He's already strong, so giving him this would not be smart. But I'd like to see what George Kittle would look like with super speed.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, it's one thing he probably lacks is probably speed. So I think that would be fierce. I mean, when you've already got Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, albeit whether they're still there in a few minutes, we don't know, but time of recording they are. If you get them to speed as well as McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell as a backup, and then you've got someone like Kittle who's got pace as well, I think it would be, surely it'd be their time to finally win one. Surely.
Yep. Because because he's obviously like an elite. He's obviously an elite tight end, but then again, like you said, like the one thing he actually misses. Well, it's not like George Kittle's obviously like no slouch. Like he can obviously move, but if you gave him the ability to basically be the fastest player, like imagine George Kittle with Tyreek Hill pace.
Oh God, can you imagine? It'd be insane. It would be insane.
So I'll go with my last player. He's, you know what? I'd like to see. I'd give this. I'd give this to. I want to give this to a player who I don't. I think he's getting his flowers. He's definitely got his flowers from the jump. But I think if I gave him this ability, I think again he would be unplayable at his position, and it's probably my only problem with him in terms of him being, kind of like his frame is kind of slight. I'm gonna give Source Garden the super strength.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, just imagine if he had that. That would be. I think for me I think this is in the top 5. You can maybe argue even top 3, especially for the age he's at as well and the potential he's got. Top 3, top 5 cornerbacks in the league. I think you give him that strength. God, it'd be a bit like Tyrann Mathieu. I think trying to think, there's not many I can think of really massively strong tight ends. None of them are built like a Derrick Henry. None of them are built like a back in the day James Harrison. No one's built like that. But you give them Tyrann Mathieu sort of strength. I think that's the recipe for the best. I think this right now it'd be Patrick Surtain. But if you give Sauce Gardner that extra strength, my word, I'd hate it as a fan of the Dolphins. I would hate seeing an AFC East team that isn't the Dolphins having someone like that. But yeah, you couldn't argue with that if you had it.
For sure. Like again, I like again. It's obviously just evolution of the game. Right? Like with the corners now, they're coming in at a lot more, slight, a lot more. Like they have like a very like not very slim, but they have like a slimmer frame now. So, if I gave, so gone again that super strength again, considering he's not been in the league that long, if I gave him that ability, he'd be like, no one would come to his side. Like Gardner Island. They had Revis Island They had Revis Island previously. If I give him that, it's basically Gardner Island. No one's gonna come to his side.
Yeah, no, it'd be a horrendously difficult proposition for myself and other fans of other AFC East teams. Yeah, and I think give him that and he'd be sensational. Did you say you had a 4th player as well?
No, I don't have a 4th player.
That's fine.
Although if I had a 4th player, I'd give Harrison Butker Pinocchio's nose, but I think that's.
Oh god, we really sort a few things out.
I won't tread too much into it, but I just think sometimes as athletes find it difficult to read the room sometimes because of the environment that they're in majority of the season. It's not, and it's like when you step out of the environment, which again they do it so little for such a short period amount of time, they can lose sense of the room that they're in. So I think for athletes these days, off the field, off the court, whatever athlete it is, sometimes read the room because it's not the familiar room that you're in for most of the season.
Yeah, I agree, and I couldn't believe you saying it in the setting he was in as well. It was just incredibly stupid comment to make, and it was just incredibly old-fashioned. And I'm fully aware that there are sadly people who think this way in all walks of life. But I think when you're someone who's in the public eye, someone who's, I think it is twice now, kicked the winning field goal in a Super Bowl to win, I think you got an incredible amount of sort of respect and people who are looking up to you, especially wannabe kickers or NFL players or just Chiefs fans in general who see you as a guy who has 1 or 2 Super Bowls. I think sometimes you got to think, even if you are thinking this way, just don't say it sometimes because I think, for him, he's lucky that he's kept his job because I think some teams may have, kicked him out with his views. But I think certainly, it just wasn't the right thing to say. And I think it wasn't at all the right message to send out to any sort of young male people who are watching or listening to that speech. So you went for sort of NFL players and what you'd give them to help them out. I've sort of gone for three. I think they'd already have if they were superheroes. I think if you put any of them in sort of Marvel scenario, I think these guys would fit in straight away. But I've gone for the fourth one just to I think just to because I think because you gave a fourth player, I think it's only fair that I gave that fourth player as well. So for my first player, I'm giving a guy who's already shown traits of this. We've seen him in his darkness retreat. I'm giving Aaron Rodgers invisibility. That's what I think. If he was in the Marvel universe, that would be his thing. You see him last couple of years at Green Bay. He went missing in the off season. No one knew where the hell he was. Went missing in the darkness retreat for ages and ages. And we all saw with the what you call it when one of the games out injured them. It looked like a bomb came out or tequila either way. I think if he was invisible, he would avoid that altogether.
I can't believe you've done that. The cheek of you.
Has to be done. Has to be done. It's my duty to hate him now, being a Dolphins fan. Yeah, I think he certainly. I think as well it would help him in the field. No one would know where he is. No one would know when he's going to throw the ball. I think that would help him massively. Second guy, I think this guy would be in a Marvel. Tom Brady. He'd have immortality. I think he already proved that he can last till 45. Seems to still want to play again. I think Tom Brady would be, the master of that, and I think I think provided no tragedies come out, I think he'll live the way he's living his life health wise. I think he'll live until he's at least 100 now, maybe even more. So I think Tom Brady would be an immortal character on Marvel. And then finally, I think Justin Jefferson, if you give him elasticity, I think one of the best hands, if not the best hands already in the NFL. You give him those Mr. Fantastic sort of arms, on the field. I think it would be dangerous. It would be really dangerous.
No, Justin Jefferson with elasticity. Oh my goodness. Because like I don't even want to. Oh man, I don't even want to dream of that. That's a nightmare.
It would be just it'd be incredibly it'd be a Chico basically. The Vikings. I know they got right now Sam Darnold or JJ McCarthy, but whoever's thrown the ball to them can have a field day if they know if they misplace the timing of the ball by about 4 seconds. You know that Jefferson could just go in there and just almost reap the benefits. It'd almost be like the old days of the what's it called? The thing they had that Jerry Rice a Stickum. It'd be like Stickum. It'd be like the old days where players were using that. It'd be like that basically. And I think it would be quite the scary prospect. And then finally, I'm going to give a bit of a joke one really, but I'm going to use the element of time travel. I'm giving it to Matt Ryan. I'm going to take him back to February the 5th, 2017, and I'm going to take him back when they're 28-3 up, and he's going to go back and then tell Dan Quinn, run the damn ball. It's actually the same thing you could apply to Russell Wilson in the Seahawks loss to the Patriots. But yeah, I'm going to give Matt Ryan a element of time travel. I'm going to allow him to go back in time, tell Dan Quinn to stop throwing the ball, to run it more, run down the clock, and get him that Super Bowl that he never won.
I mean, of course, I knew if we were going with time travel, I knew the Seahawks moment would happen. Oh, we could use those. We could use the time travel as well. I genuinely think I'm trying to. Oh, no, sure. Like, what moment do you think? What moment do you think? What moment do you think would be like the most painful to live with? Who do you think? Who would you rather be in that scenario? Would you rather be Matt Ryan witnessing a 28-3, or would you be, like any of the Seahawks players, like a Marshawn Lynch, for an example, just watching the ball being thrown and it being taken away from him?
Purely because they won a ring the year before, I think I'd rather be the Seahawks players, because as gutting as that was for Seahawks players, I'm pretty sure most of that team were there the year before. Like Marshawn Lynch won a ring with the Seahawks, Russell Wilson, Richard Sherman, and everyone else, Cam Chancellor, Bobby Wagner, but the Falcons have never won a Super Bowl in their history, and Matt Ryan, and they've been bullied, not bullied, but they've been teased a lot more than the Seahawks have, I think, for that 28-3 collapse. So I think personally, if they've already got a ring, I think they'd probably be less heartbroken than say the Falcons players were, because they've never been back. They've won a playoff game, or maybe they've won one maybe since. It's been hard times since that loss. I think that if they'd won that Super Bowl, butterfly effect, it all could have changed, and it could have been a whole different story.
I mean, just that. Funny enough, like that's the first Super Bowl like I've like ever watched like live, so I can't. When I watched it, I couldn't believe what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, same as you. It was my first watch it in full. I'd watched the Seahawks Broncos one a couple of years before that. I think a few years before that. But I only watched bits of it because I was late, and back then I had that mindset that a lot of non-NFL fans have, where I didn't really find it enjoyable to watch live. I really enjoyed watching the highlights. I always watched the highlights, but I never watched it, actually live on TV. And so that's why I turned it off, because it was. I think for me that's worse than the Patriots Rams one, because at least that was tight, whereas that one was done by the second quarter. But yeah, that was the first one I watched in full. I remember watching the Steelers against Packers one. I remember being aware of it and watching it on news or something like that, or maybe on YouTube. But yeah, the first one I watched in full was the Patriots Falcons. And then next year later we had Eagles Patriots. I think I was quite spoiled for choice when I first watched games in full. That was and we had the Patriots Rams the year later. That was a real back down to earth moment. Right, we're going to head to what we've been teasing the whole episode. Our first segment, which was going through quarterback swaps. So as to remind you, at the start of the episode, I swapped every starting quarterback with each other. So I did the first, the 32nd worst team, and all that kind of stuff. And we have led to a point now where we are at Super Bowl. And I can't believe I'm seeing this. Panthers against the Raiders is what I'm coming up with. So it's Russell Wilson against Patrick Mahomes. And this is proof that I don't know whether Madden just favoritizes Patrick Mahomes, but we literally you can give Patrick Mahomes and they just automatically. And then I did also try and make the trade as many as possible, like in the offseason. Like I got rid of I put Brian Burns in the Giants, and I made relevant transfers. I put Derrick Henry in the Ravens, and we've still got Panthers against the Raiders. It's incredible. I'm going to try and look at the stats as well to see who succeeded. So the standings. So looking at the standings, the worst team in the NFL with quarterbacks swapped. The best team was the Colts, who had 13-4. They had, if I'm right in saying that, they had Joe Burrow, so that's sort of expected. You had the Panthers, obviously Patrick Mahomes, 13-4. Steelers was Gardner Minshew with 12-5. The Jets was Deshaun Watson, aka Bill Cosby, 12-5. The Commanders with Brock Purdy, 12-5. That's proof maybe there that he is an assistant quarterback. Cowboys had Caleb Williams, rookie year, 11-6. And then Raiders made the playoffs. 49ers with Jaden Daniels. Seahawks made it with Trevor Lawrence. Browns with Aaron Rodgers. The Falcons with Jordan Love. The Chargers with Josh Allen. The Bengals with Anthony Richardson made it. And the Chiefs didn't make it with Bryce Young, but still had 10 wins. Moving to the bottom of this table, Patriots finished bottom, which I love to see. They finished 13-14, 3-14 even, with Lamar Jackson. The Rams is Derek Carr, 3-14. Lions 4-13 with Drake May, and the Vikings finished 5-12 with Jalen Hurts. I'm looking at the stats as well. I'm going to try and find the stats as well. I mean, does any of that shock you, Girvane?
No, the Gardner Mitchell one definitely surprised me. 12-5 with the Steelers. I can't remember the last time the Steelers even had a record like 12-5.
Oh, it's a long time. I mean, they have had no losing seasons as Mike Tomlin, but it's got to be surely the Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell era. Surely when they last had 12 wins, right?
I'd assume so. That's literally the season that came to my head. The season before they imploded.
Yeah, I think when Le'Veon Bell started to run his mouth, I think that's when it all started to go downhill for the Steelers. Let's put it that way. But yeah, MVP went to Brock Purdy with the Commanders. Home second, Herbert third, Fields fourth. Let's see. Offensive Player of the Year, Saquon Barkley in the NFC. See in the AFC as well. That's not coming up. So that was Josh Jacobs, one Offensive Player of the Year. Let's look at other ones. Defensive Player of the Year went to Patrick Queen for the Steelers, and went to Saquon. That went to Aaron Donald. Okay, I tried to retire him, but obviously he's come back to the league, and I did try and turn off trades, but somehow they managed to sign him. And then otherwise, Rookie of the Year in the NFC went to Caleb Williams, of course, 11-6. Defensive Rookie of the Year in the NFC went to Jalen Carter. Obviously, we are a year behind on this version of Madden. And then AFC-wise, Defensive Rookie of the Year was Will Anderson. Offensive Rookie of the Year was Bryce Young on the Chiefs. So that is that. Now I'm going to try and skip this 1 week ahead to try and see who won the Super Bowl between Russell Wilson and the Raiders and Patrick Mahomes and the Panthers. So I'm going to advance the week, see who wins the Super Bowl. Before that, predictions. God, Mahomes, right? I know Panthers got a worse team, but then again, the Raiders have Devontae Adams, Matt Crosby, Josh Jacobs won Defensive Player of the Year in this sim. Who are you backing? What's your prediction?
I'm going with the Raiders. I feel like they have the stronger team. So something tells me that Mahomes is going to throw a lot, but I don't think touchdown wise. I don't think that. I think there could be maybe like a lot of drops probably.
Well, the Raiders did win by 34 points to 30 points to 24. So MVP was Divine Diablo, the linebacker. Brock Purdy did win MVP, I said before. Coach of the Year went to Robert Saleh of the Jets. So yeah, Panthers 3 times NFC champions, but no Super Bowls. And the Raiders have won their first Super Bowl in years, and their 4th in history. I'm going to find the stats as well, quickly see who thrived in the new system. So where can I find stats? Here we are. So stats. Player stats. Okay. I think I tried to have the. Okay, well, so issues come about on Madden. I did set all the depth charts to having the rookies start first. I had Bo Nix, but for some reason Mike White's taken all the snaps for the Dolphins. But in total in the NFL, who has had the most passing yards? I have to look at this. So once this loads up, there's a lot of different screens I have to do here. This is ridiculous. Passing wise, the most yards came from Josh Allen. Sorry, Justin Herbert of Bills, 5,396 yards, 44 touchdowns, 14 picks. Will Levis, who's one of the lowest rated players in the game, he had 5,393 yards with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, rather than aging DeAndre Hopkins. 36 touchdowns, 19 picks. Jordan Love, 47 touchdowns, 16 picks, just over 5,000 yards. I mean, Brock Purdy here, this is why he's won it. 44 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, just under 5,000 yards as well. Who had the most interceptions? Kenny Pickett. For some reason, getting snaps. 29 touchdowns, 20 picks for the Eagles. Kyler Murray for the Lions, 20 picks, 30 touchdowns. And then Trevor Lawrence, 35 touchdowns, 20 picks. And yeah, so that's quite an interesting season. I don't think Madden completely took over my request of having a view roster depth chart as it was, but overall we have got the winners in Russell Wilson and Patrick Mahomes, and Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl champion.
I mean, as a former Seahawk, I'll take that for sure. I'm a bit puzzled seeing imagining Mahomes in a Panthers jersey.
Well, I'm gonna try if I can to create the graphics sort of take screenshots of every quarterback in their new jerseys and include it early in the episode where I went through each quarterback. So hopefully you've already seen it already. If you're watching this on YouTube, you may have already seen seen these guys and seen what they look like in each jersey. But
Oh
some
my! That would be
were
class.
weird. I mean, seeing Rodgers in the Browns jersey was very strange. Jalen Hurts in a Vikings jersey was weird as well. So yeah, that's something you can see for yourself, Girvane, when this episode is released. And that is a nice way to end the episode. So that is all for today in our new looking StreamYard recorded episode of Across the Pod. Hope you all enjoyed this new layout we've got, and hope you enjoyed the episode. Girvane, once again, always a pleasure having you on. Thanks for coming on.
It's always been a pleasure doing stuff with Andy. Andy's a top class guy, so it's always been a pleasure. Until next time, for sure.
That's definitely making the cut. That bit there is definitely making the cut. But yeah, this has been the Across the Pod NFL podcast. We are back for another episode next, where me and former guest Oliver Kent are gonna do a start bench trade with all 32 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, and we're spinning the wheel for that one. So that will be out probably next week, maybe end of this week. I'm not sure yet, depending on timings. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next